What's going on, everyone? So, Nikola Vucevic keeps being a name that is thrown out in buyout candidate potential. Right? Chicago, they have been looking for a trade. They've been unable to trade him. I mean, they should have traded him years ago. Even last year, they were getting like second-round pick offers, and now they're going to end up having to buy him out and get nothing for him. It's just poor decision-making around for Chicago, but hey, that's Chicago. Haven't really made great decisions over the years recently, but nonetheless, right? Now, a lot of reports that he's going to be bought out in the in the season, not this offseason, right? That it'll be happening in the season. However, a couple things. One, it's looking like that might be less likely because if he is bought out, the pool of teams that can go and bring him in is very limited at that point. He can't go to a true contender, unless, teams like, under first April teams, Warriors, Lakers, teams like that could potentially be in those rankings that could be under the first apron and be able to fill him in. Because anybody over the mid-level exception, you wouldn't be able to sign if you're over the first apron, if you're one of the apron teams. So something to kind of keep in mind. So there's a lot of talks about Chicago might end up buying him out, right before training camp stuff. You usually see a bunch of buyouts right before training camp because teams are kind of trying to get their roster in order to get into training camp. Another potential possibility is the Josh Giddey situation, right? Chicago, if they were able to buy out Nikola Vucevic, he was giving some money back, that could kind of open up a little space to now give Josh Giddey a little extra money. So there's a couple ways to kind of look at it if you're Chicago to be bought out. I wouldn't mind Nikola Vucevic. I mean, I talked about it last season. A lot of people really wanted Nikola Vucevic last season. I was actually a little surprised when I made that video. A lot of Spurs fans were like, hey, yeah, he'd be great. Now, obviously, you got Kelly Olynyk now. You got a Luke Kornet. So, the need for Nikola Vucevic isn't as big as it was otherwise. But a couple of things. One, I've talked about. I actually think that they should move Wemby to the 4. Right? Wemby wants to take 8 threes a game. I mean, literally, he's averaged it last season. And I've done entire breakdown videos on Wemby's three-point shooting and all that stuff. So if he wants to play away from the basket, let him play away from the basket and start at the 4, right? So you could bring in a Nikola Vucevic, let him slot in as your starting 5, bring in Victor Wembanyama as your starting 4, which you kind of look at this roster and it's like, what position could you maybe need kind of that filled? And that would be the 4 spot. Well, again, if you bring in Nikola Vucevic, who could be your starting center, which also could incentivize him to sign with you. It's like, well, why would I sign with you over, a team like the Lakers or the Warriors or something like that? It's like, well, we would start you, right? Like you could come in and be a starter. Now, maybe the Warriors would do that. But you might have that issue, but still, like it's something that you could present, offer to him, like, hey, you could be that starter. He's a guy that can score around the rim, excellent rebounder, excellent floor spacer, right? So he does multiple things. You can kind of run those 2 bigs. You can kind of match, right, and have this kind of 4 big rotation with Nikola Vucevic, Luke Kornet, Victor Wembanyama, and then a Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk can slot in at the 4, slot in at the 5, especially with his floor spacing. So you can always kind of have these 2 bigs out there on the basketball court at all times, right? And, it kind of also gives guys, over the course of an 82-game season, hey, you need a little extra break, you need a little extra rest, sure, take it, because you got, several guys that can kind of fill that void, fill that hole. And you're also seeing teams gearing up and loading up more on the big man. You're kind of seeing this big man resurgence. So it'd be nice to have a team like the Spurs have several big men that can kind of fill that void. And I think Nikola Vucevic would be great. One of the biggest kind of question marks and concerns of Nikola Vucevic is the defense side of things. I think his poor defense is a little overblown. He's not a good defender or great defender. I mean, his stats and metrics tell you otherwise, tell you that he's good. But if you watch him, he's not great. He's good if you can funnel the offensive player into him. He can clean up, be that help defender, right? He can hold his own. But it's when he has to be on an island, right? So, Dylan Harper gets beat, right? And now Vucevic has to come and help and stay in front of the guy. That's where he ends up getting burned more often than not. So it's something that you got to kind of keep in mind. But you know who could mask that and make up for that? Victor Wembanyama. A lot of people have concerns about, like, hey, look at what happened with, Zach Collins, and a Rudy Gobert in the Olympics. But it's very different. One, Zach Collins was terrible. He was actually very good for Chicago, which was surprising because it was like, man, if he was that good for the Spurs probably never would have traded him. Probably would have even started, right? But he was just awful for the Spurs. And then Rudy Gobert, I mean, he's a guy that can't score outside of 5 feet, right? So it's like he's one of the worst offensive players in basketball as far as like big men go, right? So it's kind of hard to operate when need be because like when Wemby wants to be around the rim, Jokic gets spread out, right? When Wemby wants to play out on the floor, you have Jokic or not Jokic, Vucevic, all the Nikolas, right? Vucevic is a guy that could slot in and help rebound and all that. So I think it would be a nice little interesting pairing and also help with the rebounding, help with the offensive rebounds, right? Especially if the guy that's supposed to be your center is out on the perimeter all game. It'd be nice to kind of have somebody on the inside that can help rebound and get putbacks and second chance points and all that stuff. So I don't hate it, right? Especially you bring him in on a vet minimum. He's coming off of an excellent season. I mean, he was like blazing, like having a career year. And kind of started to cool off a little bit towards the end of the season. Like had an injury, came back, so maybe that affected it. But he's also a guy that plays, which is good because the best ability is availability. And you kind of look at the last handful of years, 73 games, 76 games, 82, 73, right? And then 70. So that, again, last time he played under 70 games was the year right before he was traded in 2019, 2020, and he still played 62 games. And the year before that, he played 80. So he's a guy that can stay healthy and stay on the basketball court. But last year, 73 games played, 72 games started, 31.2 points per game. From the field, 14.2 attempts, shot 53% from the field. On 4.4 attempts from three-point range, shot 40.2% from three-point range. Two-point range on just under 10 attempts, shot 58.7% from two-point range. EFG of 59.2%. I think his shooting could potentially stay the same just because he's going to be playing, again, alongside guys like Victor Wembanyama, alongside guys like De'Aaron Fox. Right? De'Aaron Fox will be able to kind of operate and run that two-man. And Nikola Vucevic gives you kind of a version of Sabonis, a guy that can score around the rim, stretch the floor, but also make plays off out of the post, right? Nikola Vucevic is kind of that poor man Sabonis, Jokic, guy that can go get you a handful of assists a game. I mean, you look at last year, getting into free throws was 80.5% on 2 attempts, but rebounds, 2.4 offensive rebounds, including 10.1 total rebounds, 3.5 assists. And he's a guy that's a career 3 assist guy. So he's a guy that can make some plays out of the post. He makes good reads in the post. So, you can kind of play that kind of Sabonis Fox game with a, Nikola Vucevic at times. He averaged a steal, a block, and 18.5 points per game. So again, he's very good. If he gets bought out, I think if you're the Spurs, I think you at least throw your hat in the ring. I don't think it hurts to at least do that. Just be like, hey, what do you think? How do you feel? But as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.